Good morning. I'm Elena Giglia. I work at the University of Turin. I'm sorry. I really apologize not to be with you this morning, but I have to give another training course actually, and my short talk would be precisely about an overview of the training courses we gave during the ISPAS project. So as you can see from the syllabus, we had 4 modules on open science, starting from what's wrong with the current scholarly communication system, why do we need open science, and some practical tools to open up every step of your research, with a specific module on open access to publications. We saw how to do open science in a proper way, meaning publishing and depositing. And then we had a specific module on European policies, the European Open Science Cloud, and mainly Horizon Europe, because you know that in Horizon Europe, open science is evaluated at the proposal stage. So that's why it's so important to learn how to do open science in practice. And then we talked about fair data management. So again, our starting point was how to properly manage your data, how to make them fair, findable, accessible, interoperable, and reusable, and if possible, how to open the data, because the principle in Europe now for all research is as open as possible, as close as necessary. So all data should be open by default. You have to keep them closed only if you have some reason. And we stressed a lot the difference between fair data and open data, because findable, accessible does not mean open. And as we do what we preach, all the training material is available in Zenodo, in the ISPAS community, with a Creative Commons license. You can reuse the slide, you can reuse the photos are all mine. We also put in Zenodo the recordings, so feel free to reuse, which seems that many people did, because I'm impressed by the number of downloads and views, because as you can see, we have many more downloads than the actual participants to the course, which means that training on open science and fair data is actually needed. Something about the approach. First of all, listening to the needs. We used a lot Mentimeter, and during our first meeting, I asked participants to type some topics they would expect to be addressed during the course. Here you can see some example. I highlight only a couple of them. Open science options for publishing papers, because there is a clear confusion between open science and open access. Open science does not equate to open access. Open access is just one of the components of open science. Open science is a wider concept. Then the other one, how do we afford to publish when it's so expensive? Again, another wrong concept, because open access is not just publishing, it's also self-archiving, and self-archiving is always for free. And it's not true that you always pay to publish, because only 29% of open access, I mean native full open access journals, asks for an APC. But hopefully there was also a lot of interest for data. So how to share not only the paper, but the data. The starting point was actually, I would say, a bit low. As you can see, a lot of blue bars, which means ground zero, and a lot of beginners. But rightly so, because when I ask, have you ever attended an open science course before? They say no. But I would say that many steps later, you see that the blue bar disappeared, so ground zero disappeared, much more intermediate, let's say, levels, okay? So in my opinion, this is a good achievement of the training course. The only negative remark is about the European Open Science Cloud. When I asked, have you ever heard about the European Open Science Cloud before the course? The overwhelmingly answer was no. okay, which is a bit, worrying, and slightly better for fair data, findable, accessible, interoperable, reusable, which are, I would say, the building blocks of the EOSC. But it's really worrying because the EOSC is the future of research in Europe, a huge investment by the European Commission. It is being built bottom up, engaging researchers in task forces, in working groups, and so on. But it seems there is still little awareness. Problem is that fair data management and open science are mandatory in Horizon Europe. And not only they are mandatory, but your proposal will be evaluated on how you properly manage the data according to the FAIR principles and on how you will adapt and adopt open science practices to your research. So I think here more training is needed. Another approach, debate the common myths. So I suggested some sentences like, today reading is for free, why should I pay to publish? The impact factor is a measure of quality. The current research assessment improves research quality. We discussed all these sentences because as you can imagine, they are all false. Okay, they are just myths. I try to give evidence. Okay, so in every slide they found the evidence when I gave data or when I made a statement, then there is the corresponding source. So today reading is not for free. We actually pay $10 billion per year in subscriptions. The impact factor is simply a game and is a useless indicator, is meaningless. And we also examined all the perverse effects coming from this obsession for research, because when you are so pressured to publish, then you do whatever it takes to publish in the highest impact factor journal, including fabricating or falsifying the data. So we discussed that a lot. Because my purpose here was not only to explain what open science is. My purpose was to reasoning on the transformative potential. So how open science can fix, let's say, the broken system of scholarly communication. If not, I think that people could see open science just the ultimate fashion in scholarly communication, or simply just, oh yes, another administrative burden, oh yes, I have to do it, without, let's say, acknowledging really the potential and the opportunities behind open science. Another approach, starting from real life. So I asked, have you ever lost your data? And as you can see, they absolutely, they could relate to this situation. Have you ever experienced to open a data file and not being able to interpret the data? And again, a lot of examples coming from the real life. First of all, because I wanted them to relate with something, so not just giving theory about data management. And secondly, because I wanted to give them tools to avoid being in trouble again. Because if you think of it, all in all, open science is just science done right. And then we try to contextualize. We are living in a pandemic. We have been living since 2 years in a pandemic. So we tried to see all the lessons learned from COVID, which, if you think it from another perspective, is speaking about the benefits of open science, because open data save lives, as you can see here, and the COVID-19 crisis has made openness seem the logical choice, because if you don't share, nobody can create new knowledge. And it was particularly clear during the pandemic. Then I always try to get feedback, not like, you know, the satisfaction survey at the end of the course, but asking them in an informal way to write down 3 concepts, 3 ideas that the specific module left. And these are the words, the cloud words coming from the first module. So the module about what's wrong. So as you can see here, retraction, the money, the impact factor, science as a business, you pay for your own work, the amount of money involved, and so on. So I'm very happy. I would say that the key messages really go through. And I also asked for a specific feedback because after the first module given here at the University of Turin, a lot of students failed the test. So we had a specific meeting only with people who failed the test, and I asked them why. So they gave me some reasons, okay, and they were really happy because they told me, oh, but it's not so common that a teacher is asking us why did you fail the test, and they gave me a really I would say insightful suggestion, which is to include in the Menti after each module some checks, okay, some questions very similar to the one that they would find in the final test, just to check if the concept was clear, but immediately after the test. So I was really very happy about this meeting too. Another thing I ask them is to look ahead. So do you think you will be able to apply, to practice what you learn? And I would say I'm very happy because the common answer was I'll try to do my best. So this is precisely the spirit of this course. It's not just theory. It's about practicing open science. So you will try to apply in your daily workflow what you learn during the course. And then a final slide about connecting the dots. So this was the final feedback. I asked them about the entire course, and I would say I'm happy because, as you can see, very useful, very useful. Someone also said too short, which, come on, was 12 and plus 9 hours. There is also something completely useless, which we should investigate. But what struck me was useful but difficult to practice, which means that we still have a lot to do to change the system, okay? Because unless you change the research assessment criteria, open science will still be difficult to practice. And in the end, look at the feelings, because I didn't ask only for, let's say, for the theory, so for let's say for real, for, I would say, yes, some practical achievements, but I also asked about the feelings, okay, that the course inspired. And look at this: hope, change, inspiring, optimism, enthusiastic, opening the mind, revolution, cooperation, a different point of view, change perspective, which was precisely in my mind the, let's say, the purpose of this course, because in the end this is what really matters. So I thank you all because you gave me the opportunity to give these training courses, and I also thank the ISPAS project for being part of this change. So really thank you, and I hope you enjoy the presentation. Bye.